Hi, science is better or wealth? For many years, this was a human being's question, and for today, we are going to discuss a little bit about this topic. So, our article for our discussion is called Educational and Social Inequalities and Cause-Specific Mortality in Mexico City, a Prospective Study. This is an original article which published in September 2023 in the Lancet Public Health. The others begins with this statement that we can see social inequalities in health in many societies. However, their nature and extent are different. In this study, the researchers were going to evaluate the impact of social inequalities, particularly education, on premature death. They conducted their study in Mexico City. You know that it is the capital of Mexico. They enrolled about 150,000 inhabitants of this city in their study. All of the participants were more than 35 years, and they selected their participants from two different districts and they followed them for 20 years. The researchers defined premature death as all death happened before 75 years old, and furthermore they assessed the cause of death for all of the participants. Interestingly, the results showed inverse association between education and premature death. To be more precise, the others controlled some confounding variables like age and sex, and they classified all of the participants into 5 different groups. First, illiterate people. Second group, those with incomplete primary school education. Third, those with completely primary school education. Fourth, those with secondary education. I mean, they completed their high school. And last, those with tertiary education. When we are speaking about tertiary education, we mean that they had college or university education. And they found some brilliant results. They found that those who had illiterate compared to those with tertiary education had 2 times more premature deaths. Their ages were about 6 years less than those with tertiary education. I mean that those who were illiterate had about 6 years less life expectancy, or maybe their ages were about 6 years less than those with tertiary education. Of course, here I'm not going to provide all of confidence intervals, and I prefer you refer to the original paper, and just I'm going to review some of the most important results. Furthermore, they consider those with tertiary education as a reference level, and they compared these 5 groups based on premature deaths, and they found that participants with incompleted primary school had 1.78 times more premature death. Those with completed primary school had 1.62 times more premature deaths. Those with secondary education had 1.34 times more premature deaths, and as a result we can conclude that the more level of education is, the higher life expectancy will be. Moreover, the researchers evaluated the cause of death and compared illiterate versus tertiary educated people, and they found that for illiterate people, renal diseases and acute complications of diabetes were 3.65 times more as causes of death for premature deaths, and illiterate people with infectious diseases had 2.65 times more premature deaths. Interestingly, my colleagues and I conducted a systematic review and we published our paper in an English medical journal a couple of years ago. The title was Association of Social Determinants of Health and Road Traffic Deaths, and we evaluated social determinants influencing road deaths, and we found the more years of education are, the less probability of road deaths will happen. So our results were in the same page as this article of the Lancet. All in all, based on this study, we are not able to conclude about our first question regarding wealth and science, because there are a couple of points. For instance, it was better the researchers could control wealth in 5 levels of education, and moreover, quality of life is a controversial issue. I mean that some people believes that shorter qualitative lives are better than longer poor quality lives. Nonetheless, considering these valuable results, it seems that education associates with longer life expectancy. So more research is needed.